Present.
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 Trustee Lee.
Oh, here.
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 Vice President Walker.
Here.
President Geyer.
Here. All right, there is no public comment on closed session items. And for closed session, we're going to report out on the approval of the comprehensive school safety plan. And let's see. Yeah,
I think you jumped a little too far ahead,
Did I?
President Jayetos. You have to approve the agenda.
oh, what am I doing? Oh, no, that's.
Can I offer
that's-
you a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, there we go.
Second.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Can I get approval of the board meeting minutes of January 28th and February 6th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we're going to.
Oh, yes. And now we'll report out of closed session. Okay. So, yeah, I'm a little bit confused here on what's
Sorry,
going on here.
you guys approved the.
We did, yeah,
Comprehensive school safety plans during closed session.
we did. This doesn't match what I'm reading here, though. Okay.
Oh, yes. Going to go to number.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Now, this is not matching what I've got here, so I don't know what's going on. All right, so now on to item number 11, recognitions and combinations. This is our February Student of the Month. And we'll turn this over to our principal, Thornton High School, Mr. Marenko, Dr. Marenko.
Testing. Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone, members of the school board, Ms. Presta, student trustees. Thank you. This is one of my favorite board meetings of the year where we get to honor one of our students of the month in this, for this particular school year. It's Jaden Riate. And before I introduce Mr. Andy Solomon, his homeroom teacher, who would also like to say a few words before Jaden comes up and reads his speech, I just want to, again, congratulate Jaden. I would like to welcome and congratulate all his family who are here present with Jaden as well. And then I also want to give a shout out to the Thornton staff who's here, the teachers, counselors, and staff members who have been a part of Jaden's journey while he's been at Thornton. Jaden is a model of determination, resiliency, and overcoming many obstacles. And when Jaden stands before you today, he'll share a little bit more in detail. And it's without further ado that I have the opportunity and the honor of introducing Mr. Andy Solomon, who will also say a few positive words about Jaden.
Thank you. I'd just like to introduce Jaden Riati. I've been Jaden's teacher for 2 years. And in those 2 years, I've really got to know him and I'm really proud that the staff at our school has seen the same things that I've seen with Jaden. What I've noticed is that he is resilient, kind, and he's an advocate for himself. One thing that I've been very impressed with is that when Jaden recognizes that something isn't serving him, he is willing to take a leap and make the change happen and do something that's going to work better for him. And I'm impressed by that. And another thing is that he's really good at rising over all the noise. You know, it's hard out there to sort of ignore the things that are distracting and unimportant. And I'm really impressed when I see him doing that. He rises above the noise. He focuses on what's important. And those things are his future and progress and other people kindness, really, he's always really just a kind dude. So very happy to have him in my room. He really just changes the vibe in there and makes it, good for everybody in the room. So I want to introduce Jaden Riati.
Hi, I'm Jaden. I'm gonna just start off by saying my freshman year of high school was the first year of in-person school coming out of COVID. It was a great year. I was on the basketball team, making new friends and going out a lot, except I wasn't focused on school. I was just doing the bare minimum to stay on the basketball team. Going into my sophomore year is where things kind of went downhill for me. The first couple months of school, I was already failing because I was always hanging out, not doing my homework, constantly skipping classes and being late. So by the end of the first semester, I was so behind. I had a transfer to Thornton and finish off the school year there. My junior year was also pretty rough. I started off the school year in person at Thornton, but it was hard because I still had a bunch of credits I had to recover, and I missed going to school at Westmore a lot. Eventually, I started losing motivation and dreaded going to school. So when the first semester ended, I knew I just couldn't do in-person school anymore, and I needed a new alternative. So I switched to online classes at home for the remainder of my junior year. At first, it was helping me out a lot. I was focused, putting in the hours online and recovering credits, but it only lasted for so long. Once April and May came around, I stopped doing my online work and I had to go back in person for my senior year because I wasn't putting in enough hours online. I understood that and I was honestly ready to go back in person. So when my senior year started, I was motivated and ready to just get it done. And that's what I've been doing, but not without the help of my family and all the staff at Thornton. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without them. I'm not only graduating, but graduating on time. Graduating on time felt impossible at times, but by working hard and all the support of my family and the staff at Thornton, I made it happen. My journey was full of setbacks, but I learned the importance of resilience and never giving up on myself. This experience has made me into a stronger person, and I'm proud of how far I've come. I'm super excited for my future and the opportunities ahead of me. Jaden Riati, class of 2025. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to open it up for any congratulations or comments from our student advisors first, student board trustees first.
Hello. Hi, Jaden. So first of all, congratulations. And I just like how you kept going, even though you had your downs, your ups and downs. Like you got one of your worst downs and it got you like high up. And I think you really deserve this. You're a good model of like you're not always like you don't have to be always like at your best to be recognized. So congratulations again.
Yeah, I'd really like to second Nathalia on what she said about stepping back up. Like, I just really admire you for no matter how hard things got, you still took initiative and is graduating on time. So I just like to congratulate you.
I just want to say that it takes a lot to like recognize what really brought you down in moments, and it takes even more to stay motivated. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And it's amazing that no matter what happened to you in the first 3 years, even during your senior year, like you stayed motivated and you're still motivated today.
Well, I went to school with you for a good minute. So, yeah, you're just like a really kind person ever since the start. You're a hard worker from what I've seen in all your classes and stuff. And hard work definitely pays off. And I've been in your position before, like also came from Westmore and went to Thornton. So I know how it feels. So I know it's a good feeling that you finished because there are definitely some like thoughts of doubt like during the process, but you made it. So like you said, class of 2025, I'll be there with you. So good job.
Jaden, congratulations. I mean, that's one, it just takes courage to be able to just tell your story and the vulnerability it takes to be able to do that. And that's huge. That's a huge skill to be able to have, because a lot of adults don't even have that level of self-reflection. And for you to be able to have that and to be able to be brave enough to share it with us is powerful. Something I just also want to focus on is, your teacher said you advocate for yourself. And that too is something a lot of us who are on the other side in age, have a struggle with. And so, being able to advocate for yourself is huge, and to learn at your age is great. So keep that up, and I know you will go far. Congratulations.
When I was reading your letter, one word kept popping up, and to me that word was perseverance. I think you're the epitome of that. And remember to be mindful of what makes you motivated, because I know deep down something happened that got you in that aha moment, like, I can do this, right? So never forget that feeling, okay? Remember that life will not always be easier, especially when you go out to college. Remember that feeling, okay? The only constant in life, I will tell you, is change. So no matter how bad it might seem, it's gonna pass. All right. And then last but not least, honor your parents, man. All right. No matter what, you will disagree with them, you will fight with them, but know that they did the best they could. So always respect that. Congratulations.
Hi, Jaden. You probably don't remember me from Tobias. I was on the PTA there, but I remember you. I mean, when I saw your name, I went, Jaden, he's student of the month. Wow. I remember you were an incredible basketball player, even when you were little, and you never gave up. And I know I cheered for you because, those Eagles were tough, on the basketball team. And what I love about what you read, it didn't even seem like you were reading. You were just telling your truth. And God, I'm so proud of you. And it was so conversational. This is my life. This is what I had to go through. But what I especially liked was, even though you're acknowledging the journey you went on, you made decisions. You knew yourself enough to know, this isn't working for me. I need to go online. This isn't working for me. I need to be back in person. And I know your family was behind you, supporting you, but you definitely, this is the voice of someone who supports himself. And so you never gave up. I think you're going to go, you're just going to go as the sky's the limit for you. You can get through this. Amazing that you are graduating on time. That's hard. This is hard. And that you were able to, like everyone here said, as an adult, this is hard. We can't do this. This is hard. I dread going to work. There are times I want to give up and it gets too hard. Look what you did to get this far. And I also want to thank, your family, for all their support of you. Dr. Marenko and the great staff at Thornton, of course you're here. Because, they're lifesavers. I can't say more about Thornton. It's just like the jewel in our district. So I just want to congratulate you. I'm so proud of you. I know you'll go far.
Hi, Jaden. I continue to be impressed. All the people Rosie knows in Daly City. And you're lucky to be one of them. I will try not to repeat what everyone else has said. I admire what you've done. I noticed that I admire the fact that you're able to express all the resources that you look to. You talked about the staff at Thornton, talked about your family, talked about, hey, at some point I need to go home be online, they need to go back to school, be in person. And I encourage you to continue to identify resources that are going to get you where you go, wherever that is. Congratulations on that. And I hope you still play basketball, wherever it is, Gellert Park, wherever it is.
Jaden, so the one thing that impresses me the most, just sitting up here listening to you talk, is that you're proud of yourself, right? And that's hard to do after, you know, all the things that you've been through, right? All the things that you've struggled with to get where you're at right now. And that's because, you know, you kind of feel like you should have done better, right? When you think back about, you know, all the things that you could have done and should have done and all that stuff, you kind of feel like you should have, you know, done more, been a different person, whatever, but don't think about that stuff. You know, what you're doing up there right now and being proud of yourself, that's where you need to be. You know, I mean, I have a very similar story to you. I was at Thornton myself. You know, we all come from different walks of life, different struggles, different things going on in our lives that make it hard for us to stay focused. You know, to kind of really go after those goals that we think we should be going after. But just like everybody else said, you know, you stayed consistent, you know, you stayed the course. And they say that calm waters make poor sailors. You know what that means? That means you have to go through struggle in life sometimes to learn and to figure things out, you know, and sometimes people do that at different points in their life. And you're doing that now. And hopefully you're learning from that, you know, and you obviously are a better person because of that. And I know your parents are proud of you. I know your schoolmates are proud of you, and the staff is proud of you because they're all here. They got your back, right? So keep doing that. Whatever you found that's motivating you right now, keep doing that. Proud of you. Congratulations.
Jaden, I'm always the last one. That's a hard place to be because there's so many things that have been said. I don't want to be redundant. I want to highlight just a few things that have already been said. I'm glad that you can feel your success. And I also know that there's going to be more bumps in your road because that's how life is. And so I hope, actually, I'm confident that you have something inside of you, this level of introspection and a level of knowing yourself, to trust yourself to make those right choices for yourself. So I'm really, I'm proud of you, and I feel that you are feeling a sense of pride, and that makes me really happy. I'm very impressed, and I love that your teacher shared that you light up the room. I've seen that in your smile already, just being here for a few minutes. And I think it really says a lot. The teachers and staff at Thornton are here to support you. Your family's here to support you. And I'm really rooting for you, and I'm excited for you. Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to take a quick minute to do a little group picture? And
Yeah.
Jaden.
We have a certificate for you as well. All right.
We're gonna take a picture with you. Please, we'd like to take a picture with you. Oh, there we go. Students, you guys want to move on? Student trustees, want to go on this side? I'll send it to you. And then the family, you guys like to come to? And then Jordan Sack will get one out. And we'll not get it. Right, I'll be from the outside. 1, 2. Okay. All right. Well done. It's a good spot. I like it. Don't worry about it.
What'd you say?
What's Jordan's next meeting now?
You're all good.
Well, I'm good now.
Good audible, man.
Thanks for bailing me out there. I realized.
Everybody. Thank you.
All right, everybody, moving on to communications. We'll start with board report, and we'll start with our student board trustees. Starting from the left over there, we've got Natalia with Jefferson.
Yes, so at Jefferson, what has been going on is our winter ball sadly canceled. Not enough tickets were sold. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. But on the good news, we had our Mission Fusion show. Also, our spring sports are having their tryouts and their practices right now. Also, we had our winter rally, which was exciting. I participated in 2 dances. That was a lot. The theme was Teen Beach movie and High School Musical. Also, super happy that our folklorico club has a new dance instructor now, and she's super nice. So loving her. We have new AP classes and electives, which that's exciting for new people, but not for me because I'm already leaving. So we have AP Psychology, AP Environmental Science, AP Physics, super cool classes. We had our course selections for 25 and 26 the school year. Progress reports are due tomorrow for us. Oh. And of course, we all knew about the protest of a day without immigrants. It was a very empty day for Jefferson. I work in the cafeteria. The line went by quick. And I was like, where are the kids? I was confused. But that's it.
This week at Westmore, the Associated Student Body is celebrating Hearts. So this entire week, we've had various activities and spirit days to celebrate Valentine's Day. And our Watt Club has also been selling grams, which will be delivered to students during the day of Valentine's Day. Additionally, winter sports, so soccer, basketball, and cheer, I believe, are having their senior nights. February is Black History Month, so we are planning activities and informational posts to celebrate it. Our math department is also fundraising for Pi Day, so they've started selling t-shirts for $25. This weekend, our Future Business Leaders of America chapter sent over 50 students to Homestead High School to compete at the section level, and many of us qualified. Students have also started going to outdoor ed as cabin leaders, and last but not least, course selections has also been sent out.
All right, so at Oceana, we've been pretty busy lately. Our course requests have been sent out and they're actually due tomorrow. With our course requests, we've been considering new APs depending on how many students are interested. This will include AP Engineering. We also have started spring sports. This includes track, boys tennis, and swimming. And our winter sports are officially over tomorrow. We already had our boys senior night for soccer and our boys and girls senior night for basketball. And then our girls soccer senior night will be tomorrow. Our boys soccer team had won their first game in the last 2 years this past Wednesday. And we have an 8 a.m. deadline coming up for our seniors with their Senior X. These 8 a.m. deadlines are basically little checkpoints throughout the long journey of their Senior X projects. And finally, our Oceana ASB is going to be joining our BLSU club to help start a wildfire drive to fight the wildfires in LA.
So recently at Thornton, we've been working on a mural project. There are about 12 applicants, and then there's been an application workshop for students to kind of get an idea of how the mural is going to work and how we're going to create it. We unfortunately postponed our family community celebration due to the bad weather, and we're hoping to reschedule sometime soon once the weather is better. We're more than halfway through the quarter, and our progress reports recently just got sent out. School staff has been working to provide extra support once progress reports have went out. And this quarter, we can proudly say that we had at least 6 early graduates, and hopefully we will have more next quarter.
That's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Lots going on. Was able to attend Mission Fusion on Friday night, and that was fantastic. And yesterday, there was joining in with student advisory, which was always good and entertaining to be around all the students and hearing what's going on at each site, as well as just the different activities surrounding their projects that they're going to be presenting to us in a couple of months. And I do want to highlight that today, Superintendent Presta, Director Shreve, and I were able to sit in on a workforce housing panel for CSBA at 7:05 ceremony today, along with colleagues from Jefferson Elementary to discuss what we did, how we did it, and how each district in particular did it, and to be able to share it in front of 5 school districts that are going through training with CSBA. So it was really, I think it was a good time to be able to share what we've done, what we've learned, and hopefully they can avoid some of the pitfalls that we may have gone through. So that's all I've got.
Not much to report this week, more prospective things that are coming up. I'm meeting up with the Daly City Youth Health Center tomorrow, our first meet and greet, so looking forward to that. Yeah, that's about it for me.
I also went to the Mission Fusion celebration, basically, last Friday. Never disappoints. It's just amazing the kind of show that they put on. Ms. Mansell, a lot of alumni come to help. They get community people to help with the choreography. And then the students also have their own choreographers. They write all of it. It's just an incredible production. Going to be sad it was a little bittersweet because a lot of the students, including 2 of our student trustees, they've been part of Mission Fusion for the last probably 3 or 4 years, and now they're graduating. So, but they always get a lot of dancers for Mission Fusion, and they just carry on. I went to the Know Your Rights training here at the district office that is put on in conjunction with the county, and it's to, it was open to all the school districts in our area. So there was a big attendance. I went to the first one. There's another one. But there's big attendance from neighboring county school districts. And it's basically training. I mean, it's awful that we have to be prepared in case ICE shows up on campus. But we're also trying to protect our LGBTQIA plus community as well. So this actually, I've been, full of fear for our students and our families, and this actually made me less fearful and made me more prepared. And so I just felt it was really necessary for me, for peace of mind, to go to this training and see what we're doing and how the county is supporting our students.
I also attended Mission Fusion, and I was happy to see two of our student board members on stage. Otherwise, I could never describe it as well as Rosie did. And I also have had the chance over the past couple of weeks, just by chance, to see the boys and the girls basketball team at Terra Nova play. They won both games. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad I went.
Well, I went to Mission Fusion as well, and I was exhausted watching those kids dance. There was a lot of choreography, a lot of amazing choreography. It was impressive to see just how many dances some of these kids had to learn. And then after all that dancing at the end of the night, man, they just wanted to keep dancing. I was like, whoa. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. That was an awesome performance. Also sitting in on student advisory with Andy and just kind of reflecting on that a little bit. Always proud of our students and listening to them game plan and talk about their schools and how they're trying to make it better and all the things they want to do to improve things for themselves and for their fellow students. It's always an honor to kind of sit there and be a part of that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Thank you. I have a lot. So I will try to be rapid. I'm glad that you talked about student advisory. I didn't realize last night, one of the co-presidents said, we only have a few more meetings. So, let's backwards map for our presentation and what we're doing. And I was thinking to myself, it's the beginning of February. We got lots of time. But she was a smart person because there are not that many more meetings for the students. So super proud of them really being on it. They're a really, great group of students. So I did not attend the robotics competition at Jefferson, but I want to kind of give it a shout out because I found out that it was the first year. So there was a robotic competition on the 1st of February. And this is the first time that all 4 of our comprehensive high schools were participating. So that's awesome. I'm really happy that Joel Bruxford emailed me to let me know that. So that's wonderful. I'm super happy about that. Rosie, I was really also happy to see at the Know Your Rights event for the staff. I'm really proud of, I know Melissa Ambrose and Lori Robinson were leading it, but there were many other of our staff members. I'm not sure who all was also doing it. Marcella, I forget. There was a group of people. I don't want to leave people out, but I know that they were sort of leading along with staff from South San Francisco and Bay Shore and, some of our Jefferson Elementary, some neighboring school districts put together a training for our staff. And we invited all the local northern feeder districts of ours in South San Francisco to learn about the rights of immigrants and to be able to train the people at their sites. There were resources. The county was there. Faith in Action is really, really an important part of this work. There's a hotline. We have posters all around our schools and our sites for people to call if they need assistance. And so it's really important. A lot of what I've been talking about with my superintendent colleagues from other school districts and with our staff is protecting our students and our families in this political climate. And it's really heartening to see from the state of California, Attorney General Bonta, the messages coming from our state are, we are a sanctuary state, and we will continue providing the education that we've always provided and the safety for our students. So just want to give that a special, highlight. Mission Fusion, as always, was fabulous. The board and I were here on Saturday for a special board meeting. And I won't lie, I don't always want to come to work on Saturdays, but it was a really productive session. It was sunny out, and it was a really positive and productive session. We focused on board goals, my goals that are that we want to highlight. They're LCAP goals that we want to highlight. And so that was a really good day. Let's see, the last event that I want to talk about is that tomorrow we have an event that we have several other school districts coming to. It's our National Equity Project West Coast Learning Lab. So we have people from around the country coming, and then locally we've got Santa Clara Unified School District and Walnut Creek Unified? I'm not sure. Unified? Yeah, thank you. Coming, and many staff from our school district are going to be coming tomorrow. And the highlight of that is that we're going to have a student panel, and we have students from all of our high schools coming. So I'm really excited for that, and I'm excited for the day and proud of us. And then I finally want to give a shout out to our staff. We were talking about resources for undocumented folks. And last week there was a social media post that was a false social media post saying that ICE was going to be coming to Westmore High School. I forget, Ben Franklin, Ceremony Mall, like there were several listed. And interim principal Victor Zhao heard from his staff and students about this and texted Associate Superintendent Basuino and myself. And before we could even get back to him, because it was like 10 p.m., he had written a really beautiful communication to his community to let them know that we had no indication that this was true. Then the next day, Superintendent Sandy McCulloch from Jefferson Elementary and I spoke with the police chief from Daly City. And then I had a conversation additionally with the police chief from Pacifica. And I just I'm highlighting it tonight because we do have a community around us to call on and to work together to ensure the safety of our community. And it worked. We worked well together. We messaged out, and hopefully we're able to let people know in a timely manner that this was false. But it's all really important that those posters that are around the district, they're big yellow posters. They're around the community that Faith in Action put out. There's a phone number on there where you call if you have any. If you think ICE is there, if any worries, and they are able to support, to determine if it's a real, credible sighting, et cetera. So I think that the message is our community works together and supports each other, and that's my highlight.
Thank you, Tony. And I just wanted to kind of jump back in real quick because I feel it's important to kind of highlight this. Not kind of highlight it, but highlight it. It is February, and as we recognize Black History Month, it's important to reflect on the rich contributions of African Americans to our nation's history, culture, and progress. Their struggles and triumphs have shaped our society, and their legacy continues to inspire us. This month and every month, we reaffirm our commitment to equity and inclusion for all of our students. Just want to make sure that's out there because we do support our Black students here, and as well as all of our students. So I felt like that had to be said. Moving on, do we have any board subcommittee reports? All right. Then we give the floor to Ms. Monica Casey with AFT Local 1481 report.
Hello. Sorry. I have a couple things to mention. Within our own district, we're starting negotiations. We have a large team of 22 AFT 1481 members that have volunteered and been voted on to the negotiations team, about 22 of us. And we're starting hopefully officially on Thursday. Alongside with that, I am on the CFT, California Federation's newest task force. It's called EQS, which is Educators for Quality Schools. You may have heard about UESF being involved in a We Can't Wait campaign. That's a statewide. There's a lot of, we're CFT and they're CTA and CFT, so I get to hear about both of them. So it's the other union has kind of gotten together a bunch of school districts to go against the state and say, we can't wait for these things. But our task force, I just wanted to tell you what the 3 top ideas are: that California students have a fully staffed schools with highly paid and trained education workers, bring back and instill pride and trust in our profession, both classified and certificated, and that all education workers have a high quality, affordable, and accessible health care benefits. For many of us, we have part-time employees who don't have health care, especially the classified folks. So that's a big thing we want. And then the 2 other things, immigration resources, I have several that I've shared with our district people. And then I'm on a AFT, National Task Force for LGBTQ plus help and trying to move forward with ways of supporting the LGBTQ plus people in this climate. That's just heartbreaking. So I just wanted to mention those few things. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. All right. Moving on to consent. Can I get a motion to approve consent?
Move to approve consent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment. All right. Moving on to 16A, Education Services. Let me catch up here. Sorry. All right. Deputy Superintendent of Educational Services, Ms. Kareem Baca.
Good evening, President Gallegos. Good evening, members of the board. This evening, I will be sharing the mid-year update of the Local Control and Accountability Plan, also known as the LCAP. And as a reminder, the LCAP is a 3-year strategic plan that helps districts improve student outcomes. It includes goals, actions, metrics, and expenditures. And in addition, it must also outline information on how we are increasing and improving the services for our students learning English, foster youth, and low-income students. So there is a legal requirement that the mid-year update is presented to the governing board at a locally regularly scheduled board meeting. And it must include all available mid-year data and all available mid-year expenditure and implementation data. So this evening, I'll be sharing just a few highlights from each goal because there are about 58 actions in each of the goal. And I don't think we have enough time for all of that. But the whole mid-year report is linked here for your reference, and it's also attached in the board packet. So as I mentioned, the district LCAP has 7 goals, and goal number 1 is to cultivate a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So with this goal, I would like to highlight the work that we are doing with the District Redesign Network and our partnership with National Equity Project. The team consists of 5 people. So Superintendent Tony Presta, Jessica Tia, science teacher at Westmore, Dan Arzaga, our teacher on special assignment for DEI and ethnic studies, and Josh Featherston, ELD and English teacher at Jefferson, myself. And the team's purpose is to build collective investment, commitment, shared language, and skill across the district that will sustain our equity focus indefinitely. So this year marks the 2nd year of our 3-year partnership, which focuses on leading for equity framework, See, Engaged, and Act. So this is a framework where equity is cultivated from the inside out and within rather than through a traditional top-down approach. Last year, we concentrated on understanding our system or seeing our system. So after analyzing multiple data sets, our team identified students' sense of belonging as our primary equity focus. Recognizing that some students feel disconnected from school, we conducted extensive listening sessions, primarily focusing on our African American students and Hispanic Latino students. Additionally, we reviewed survey responses from over 2,700 students who self-assessed whether they feel seen, valued, and heard. And school site administrators during the administrative retreat engaged in this data review last summer. So several key themes emerged from gathering data. And one is the need to address racialized and hurtful comments from other students during unstructured settings. Another is the need to understand and acknowledge the diverse cultures within student subgroups. So as an example, the Hispanic Latino community, students from Guatemala, Nicaragua, Mexico, they all have distinct cultural backgrounds, and we should be recognizing them and respecting them and really just knowing what their cultures are. So in response to these findings, several schools took proactive approach to deepen their equity work. So one school launched an initiative at the start of the school year to identify students who lacked strong connections with adults, and staff then made deliberate efforts in reaching out to these students. Another school developed their own peer observation tool to assess belonging and equity in the classroom instruction. And another school created a mini workshop to help educators recognize and address microaggressions. So these are just little things that people are trying to address what the needs are. And again, we're just beginning to unravel all of this because we are in year 2 right now where the focus is about engaging others in this work, because this work cannot live among the 5 of us. So we will be working with other folks in helping us expand this work district-wide and at each school sites. So like what Ms. Presta said earlier, tomorrow, equity teams from the Santa Clara Unified School District and Walnut Creek will be joining us for a West Coast Learning Lab. It's a collaborative space where we can exchange ideas to help refine our next steps. So as we move through year 2, our focus shifts to engaging others with year 3 dedicated to designing sustainable, equitable strategies. Another action, so that's the national equity work. And then the other thing that I would like to also highlight is the workshop series facilitated by Melissa Ambrose and Dan Arzaga called Racial Healing and Personal Growth. So feedback from participants, there are about 16 to 18 staff members, has been overwhelmingly positive, with many expressing appreciation for the district's commitment to prioritizing this work, especially in today's complex social and political climate. And lastly, we have begun conversations with principals in recruiting students to form a student equity team. And at the same time, Melissa and Dan are preparing to receive training on how to facilitate affinity groups with our staff to further enhance our inclusivity efforts. So that's goal one, strategies. And there are a lot of metrics tied into this, but a lot of the metrics are surveys that we have not administered yet, and we will administer in the spring. However, one of the things that I would like to point out is the metric on classroom teacher ethnic representation. So it basically compares the proportion of teachers from a specific ethnic group to the proportion of students from the same student group in a school or a district. So a value of 1 represents parity, while a value of above 1 indicates overrepresentation, and a value of less than 1 represents underrepresentation. And so from the 24-25 data, you can see there is an overrepresentation of white teachers in our district, and has been traditionally, relatively stayed the same, but things are getting better. So the Hispanic teachers, our Hispanic students, which is our biggest student group, have like the lowest teacher representation right now. It's very underrepresented, but we saw an increase of 0.32 to 0.39, which is a step in the right direction. And I'm gonna pause here for questions before I move to goal 2, or if anything that Ms. Presta would like to add about this goal. This is her favorite goal.
It is my favorite goal. You did a beautiful job, actually. Yeah, no, I'm good. Well done. But it looks like there's questions.
Yep. With regards to educator recruitment, are we taking specific steps in terms of addressing this with the various subgroups?
I'm gonna pass it on to Director Lujan.
Yes, so we definitely have, we continue our traditional efforts like recruiting through Edjoin and in-person hiring fairs, which Doreen and I have already started to attend this year. But we also are outreaching through our historically Black colleges and trying to reach directly out to where our candidates are looking. Most educators who are in the field know to look at Edjoin, but anyone outside the field who we may be wanting to support to earn a credential is not looking at Edjoin. So going to where our pool is at. Karine and I are also just recently submitted a grant that ideally will support our district with bringing our own residency model focused on diversifying the workforce. So fingers are crossed. We're successful with getting that grant.
Cool. The other thing that we are looking into is like revamping our marketing materials to show who we are as our district, what we value, and have pictures of and infographics that reflect who we are. So it's not like a stock photo that we get from Google.
Beautiful report so far. One comment I just want to highlight though is just like you went and you highlighted the differences that exist in the Hispanic students and subcultures. I'm curious if there is a similar structure like that for African American students. And let me follow up with why I say that. I grew up in Cameroon. In Cameroon, I was Cameroonian. I wasn't African. I wasn't Nigerian. I was Cameroonian. And when I moved to America, I was no longer Cameroonian. I was just lumped as African American. I had my cultures and my beliefs that I brought with me, and I don't think those were truly nurtured or protected in the schools that I went to. So just something to keep on you guys' radar as you think about these projects.
Yes, I completely agree, because the same thing with Asians, where we're just categorized as Asians, and there's a lot of Asian groups that just get lumped into one box. And one of the things that we're really, with all of the work, is really knowing who our students are and work from that and build on their strengths. And that would help us hopefully feel like a sense of belonging and feeling seen. Okay. All right, goal number 2 is to foster a positive and supportive school environment that prioritizes well-being. So what I pulled out from here, key highlight, is our wellness and mental health staffing across the district. So currently we have 13.4 full-time equivalent staff members dedicated to student wellness at the school sites. In addition, there are 11 wellness interns supporting the students as well. And this consistency ensures that mental health resources remain accessible to those who need them. I'm pleased to share that now we have an intern working at the adult transition program and the adult school, with plans to expand that for our bridge program next year. I learned today that 4 of the current wellness team members are former JUHSD graduates, which is awesome. 2 are former interns, and 11 out of the 13.4 FTE or staff members are individuals of color, reflecting our commitment to diversity and representation. Another important focus on this goal is student attendance monitoring. So Carla Hensley has played an important role in strengthening attendance practices at each of the school site by working closely with the attendance teams. She's helped them establish standardized protocols and best practices, and her efforts have created a more structured and proactive approach into improving student attendance. 2 significant data points related to this goal is 1, suspension rate. The suspension rate for English learners, well, all students, it decreased by 0.7, but I specifically would like to call out the decrease of suspension rate for our students learning English. And one of the things that we need to work on is, the suspension rates for some specific groups that have increased, mostly among our Pacific Islander students, where there was a 5.3% increase and a 3.3% increase among our African American students. The other data point for this is the chronic absenteeism. We did decrease by 2%, but 19% chronic absenteeism is still pretty high, and it's something that we are working on. And that is goal 2.
Quick question. Do we know what the chronic absenteeism is related to? What is it due to, or is it hard to measure that?
It's really hard to measure. It varies.
What are the causes?
What are the causes, or like, I know that some of my friends, their kids are chronic absentees because their families would go to the Philippines for like a month at a time. There are different measurements. I don't know if we try to figure that out.
I've also noticed from experience that when my daughter was in school last year, we got a notice for chronic absenteeism for her missing school for being sick. Without, unexcused, obviously, but just enough of those happening. So it's a little bit, there's a lot of different stuff that goes into that, I guess.
So it's different per situation, and just I'd like to let you know, like, I want to define chronic absenteeism, and it's basically students who are absent 10% or more of the school year, whether it is excused or not excused.
Got it.
So that's 18 days of absence. And I know, like, in the past, and it's still, happening, there's a lot of sickness out there. So it adds up. So that is, one potential cause. And like what, Ms. Tejada is saying, it could be some do go back to their countries to visit, chunk with time at a time. Some have anxiety issues. And so, they don't want to come back. So there's multiple reasons.
Can I add something to the conversation too? It's measured because we know that there's a decrease in, success in school if you're absent 10% or more. But I also, as you say, there's many factors. Is it the chicken or the egg kind of, right? So some kids aren't coming to school because of anxiety or because of things like that. And, but it's still a measure. We still want to determine what those factors are and then help those students, right, to be at school more regularly because they will be more successful.
I mean, if we need to know what it is if we're,
right.
We can't just say we're going to decrease absenteeism without knowing what it is.
Why?
Yes, and so yes, our counselors and our attendance folks are working hard to have a conversation with the students and the families, and see if there is a root cause, if there's something that we can do to address the barrier and have them come to school more often.
Is there a specific way where we could collect that data to actually understand it and start to track that? The other, and related to that, is it possible to look at what their scores are just by the subgroup of chronic absentee students without breaking it up? I mean, if we're talking about 19%.
You mean scores for
like whether it's test scores or the same type of metrics we're utilizing here in the LCAP to measure student success. It would be interesting to see how that group of population of students compares to those who are in school. I mean, we believe that their outcomes are going to be lower, but it would be good to see what the hard data tells us.
Yes, I can pull all of those and share it in the Friday recap.
Great, thank you.
And I just had one quick question about the suspension rates. Just real quickly, what are the strategies that we're using or looking at for some of those suspension rates that are just still increasing, actually, with some of those subgroups that we see there?
Sorry. Yeah, it's a great question. So they can ebb and flow through years, right? So there could be concerns on a campus where there's rival stuff happening. But mostly what we try to do is we try not to suspend unless there's a threshold, right? There's violence, there's something to that effect. So there's a lot of attempts not to suspend. And when we do suspend, it's usually for something violent. So it's pretty rare that we're going to suspend because you cut school or that you were caught vaping in the bathroom. We don't suspend for those things anymore. So when you see these, so it's a matter of, like you said, then we have to figure out how do we meet these groups? Why is this happening? So every school's a little bit different. And so those are conversations that we have through the safety plan, right? They look at their suspension data. They try to look at school culture. So it could vary from school to school.
One of the things that concerns me about some of the suspension rates is, when they're not in school, how are they getting taught? What is their education like away from the school grounds?
Absolutely, right? And so that's why we try to lower the number of days, right? It used to be if you were suspended, if you got in a fight, it was automatically 3 days. And so now if there's some sort of physical altercation, if we can try not to suspend, we'll do that. But if we have to because they need space, we'll do that. But they have access through, and that's part of the attendance issue too, is they have access through Google Classroom to do their work. We've been very clear, the board has been very clear, even when they're cutting school or whatever, to have access to the materials.
So they'll be able to access the materials, but just not the lessons. So if they miss a lesson, they may not be able to do the materials.
And so that's why we have flex time now in all of our schools. And so the teachers know that that's what the board wants. They want the kids to have access to their classes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the mathematical reasons why the shifts, like the ups and downs, so our African American students, we have 48 district-wide. Pacific Islanders, we may have like 20 plus or so. And so 1 or 2 students could really, either upswing or downswing our percentage.
Yeah, if I may follow up on that, I'm also looking at the white students, right? They also have a positive movement in that metric. So I guess what I'm really trying to get a sense of is, do we, as a school or school district, have it within our purview to really dig to the root cause of why a student is violent, for example, and try to offer, I guess, softer resources like counseling before we suspend them?
So when there's a discipline issue, looking at the root cause is part of the process. It's part of the intake. It's part of the, what the administrators are trained to do.
Okay.
Sometimes they pull in counselors. Sometimes they talk to parents. And like I said, really the only time we really we go for suspension is if we've had the same conversation multiple times, or they're not using the resources that we're providing, or there's a safety issue. But yes, you're correct in that that's what we try to do. We try to look at the root cause. And sometimes the root cause is that these two kids can't be in the same classroom together. It might be something simple. It also might be that there's some issues going on at home, and we're trying to figure that out. And so that's why we've worked very closely, our administration works very closely with wellness, because they're more apt to talk to a wellness counselor or even Daly City Youth Health Center than to talk to an administrator.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, goal number 3 is elevate teaching and learning practices to optimize student engagement and academic achievement of diverse learners. So with this, there are 3 key actions that I would like to highlight. So first is the Universal Design for Learning. So it is a framework that ensures student learning is accessible to all students, regardless of their abilities, backgrounds, or learning styles. It is rooted in principle that barriers exist within the curriculum and the learning conditions and not within the students themselves. So under the leadership of our principals and with the support of our instructional coaches, school sites have been providing professional development to help educators design a more inclusive classroom. Another key initiative is dedicated time for teachers to spend on creating student-friendly language objectives, or you'll hear this, that's the blue sheet, for each of the unit that they teach. So this practice ensures students clearly understand what they are expected to learn and achieve. And additionally, teachers during their collaboration time have been working on developing common assessments to enable them to identify areas where instruction needs reinforcement and adjust their lessons accordingly. And lastly, I'd like to highlight our professional learning efforts focusing on grading for equity. So with this professional development, our teachers explored strategies to make grading more accurate, bias-free, and motivational by implementing equitable grading practices in the classroom. So as an example, one key grading practice is that students learn, is based on what students learn rather than when they learn it. Meaning that late work should not be penalized with reduced scores. So research shows that deducting points for late submissions distorts the grades, making them less reflective of actual academic performance. And in addition, this practice does little to improve student achievement or motivation, and it can produce some disparities that exist outside of the classroom. So teachers who participated in this professional development engaged not only in 2 kickoff days, but they also attended 4 workshops, and there is an ongoing coaching provided to the teachers throughout the year. And what teachers have to do is pick a grading practice that they want to implement and try it out for a cycle, which is usually about 4 to 6 weeks, and see how that is working. And then they reflect on it, and they can continue with that grading practice or switch to a different grading practice. About 25% of our teachers have already been trained through grading for equity. And we have a plan as a district that moving forward next year with all of our incoming teachers, that they will be asked to attend the 2-day kickoff. And that is, a requirement for all of our teachers so that they are aware that this is one of our priorities for the district. One of the metrics that I would like to highlight for this teaching and learning goal is the AP course enrollment. So, and it's basically students accessing. So it's not the test scores, but who is enrolled in the AP classes. Historically, enrollment in AP classes has been disproportionately high among white and Asian students. And as a district, we're committed to increasing representation among our underrepresented groups, including our Hispanic and Black students. So this school year, while the percentage of African American and Hispanic students in AP classes has decreased, we have seen increases in other groups, like our Pacific Islander enrollment rose by 19%, students learning English increased by 3%, and our students with disabilities saw a 12% increase. And any questions?
Can I just ask a favor next time, Corinne, for clarity for the percentages, can we include the number of students? Is that possible to just have the quantity of students next to the subgroups that are there, just so we kind of, it makes more sense to kind of look at the percentages that way when we can see the numbers of the students too.
I have a spreadsheet that I will share that in the notes, when you hover over the spreadsheet, you'd be able to see the raw numbers.
Okay.
And I will share that in the recap.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Do we have any data on how student outcomes have improved with the cohort of teachers that have been trained in grading for equity?
No, we haven't looked at that. I know the Grading for Equity Crescendo group that is working with us has been collecting data, and they also ask for, the gradebook of the teachers that have participated because they do want that analysis. And so we can, because we've had 3 or 4 cohorts now, I think we would have like a significant number to look at improvement, and that is something that I can request them.
Yeah, because it would be interesting, especially with respects to, like one of the board goals is LTAP goal 3, metric 4, which is related to SBAC scores in math. So something related to that, perhaps, even for ELA. It would be interesting just to see if there is a significant difference, if at all. I mean, I recognize with a standardized test, there can be other variables as well, but it'd also be interesting to see whether, there's a higher percentage of those students who go on to take an AP class, and maybe that has something to do with access to a particular course.
Yes, so we will look at that.
Great, thank you.
It's needed a clarification. Did you say next year it's going to be mandatory for new hires to attend the Grading for Equity?
And they will have 2 years to complete the professional development. So it's not like, so they'll have a choice to either take it that year or the following year, knowing that there are a lot of other requirements that they have to complete, like their induction program. But as a district, we just want to really highlight that, this is one of the areas that we strongly believe in. And we want teachers to know that we want them to learn these principles. I know that when I went to get my teaching credential, this was not taught at all. And so I graded like how I was in high school, because that's the only thing I knew. And so this really kind of like, it just made a lot more sense. So, another example is, allowing students to do redos and retakes, and just really grading on students for what they know, and not, again, like, either when they learn it or remove other behaviors, such as like, if you participated and raised your hand like 100 times, you get 100 points. And the points become diluted. Is it really, do you understand what is happening? Or is it because, you are not shy to raise your hand 100 times? And so those are the kinds of things that we're trying to instill, is like, let's really measure what grades are intended to do, which is on achievement and improvement rather than outside behaviors.
May I add to that too, Corinne? Thank you. I was going to say that, and then you said it, so that makes me really happy. It's really grading on mastery. And really, elementary and middle school districts have been doing this now for 20 years, standards-based grading. It's grading what the students know. So of course you're going to let them take a retake, Because if they're going to go back and learn the material and master it, well, then wonderful. That's your goal. So it is really one of the most important things, which is why we've decided to make sure all new teachers are trained.
I mean, I know my daughter Carly graduated in 2022, but she was lucky enough to have flex time. And also, I mean, school's stressful enough. If you have students who do sports or they have to work after school, I know Carly is, well, she's one of the kids who went to school online during COVID, so that's a totally different thing. But the stress of high school is really, they're just under so much more stress than I think I was when I was in high school. But for this to be, she always knew that she could, she didn't have to pull an all-nighter necessarily, because she'll have a chance to improve. Or she goes, I don't know if I did well on the test, but at least I can retake it. So just taking that stress out of their lives is really matters a lot, I think. They're doing so much.
Quick question.
Yes.
Are subs also going to be expected to meet this requirement?
Right now, we only our teachers are required, but that is something that we can look into. Maybe our long-term subs. I think day-to-day subs don't really grade, but long-term subs do. So that is, perhaps if they're taking over a class for, a long time.
Well, and I think also too, we just got to recognize that everybody learns at a different pace too. And I think that helps all those students that might be struggling a little bit until they get that aha moment. And then they're like, okay, I got this, so it's just an opportunity for everybody to get on the same level. So it's awesome, I think. So.
All right. Goal number 4 is to ensure that all students are prepared for post-secondary education, careers, and lifelong success by providing comprehensive college and career readiness program. So one key area of progress is the growing college and career going culture across all school sites. We have expanded opportunities for students to earn college credits while in high school through the dual enrollment courses. So these courses are taught in our high school campuses with instruction provided by our own teachers, with the exception of one class, and this is Terra Nova's auto program, where they send us their a Skyline College teacher. So our dual enrollment offerings this year include at Jefferson High School, the dance program is a dual enrollment, digital arts and digital electronics. At Westmore, the auto class and the fashion design classes are dually enrolled. And at Oceana, the food and nutrition and culinary arts are dually enrolled. And our goal is to increase that in upcoming years. Additionally, we continue to offer a variety of advanced placement courses, and we are exploring the possibility of adding AP African American Studies at Jefferson High School next year, pending on student interest. Our career technical education, led by Ms. Shreve and Ms. Christina Lewis, remains robust. This year, our capstone students will be expected to complete e-portfolios, and many are earning industry certificates. So, as an example, certificate in ServSafe, Adobe, Basic Life Support, OSHA, and more. And so I'm, really looking forward to that, because our students will graduate with, a certificate that they can bring to the workforce after high school. Our school counselors have also been pivotal in helping this college and career culture. So as an example, I want to highlight Jefferson High School. So they partnered with San Francisco State University this year for a program called On the Spot Admit Day. And it's where students were provided, they're basically provided vouchers, so they didn't have to pay for their application fee. And San Francisco State representatives were there to review their applications and meet with the students, and the students get admitted basically on the spot. It may sound simple, but there's a lot of prep work that needs to happen for that admit day. So our counselors did like an amazing job. And with that, 64% of Jefferson High School senior class was admitted already to San Francisco State University. And, whether they will be going or not, the option is there, and it gives them, an opportunity and access to college. Some of them didn't think that, they would qualify at all, but they did. And so that was very exciting. As far as the metrics, so for the class of 2024, 70% of the students enrolled in a 2-year or 4-year college right after high school. So this 70% of them basically are enrolled in a 2-year or 4-year. And this is a 2% increase from the year before. And there is a 19% increase in college enrollment among our Black students. And so that is goal number 4.
With regards to the college going rate, can we advertise this on our websites? I mean, especially with respects to the schools that the students are matriculating to. That is something that incoming parents are always looking at. And I know it's been a few years since we've had college acceptance and matriculation data reflected on our websites, and I think it's important to have that info. I know we, at least certainly with acceptances, sometimes that's, we just hear from the counselors themselves, but it would be good to just start to keep track of both things, because we know that the private schools put that, that's like the first link that people go to on private school websites, and I think we need to do the same.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up, because we will have a new redesign of our website.
That's why I brought it up.
And we will include that information.
No pressure.
Yeah, I know that when we would do Fog Fest and we had that banner that listed all the colleges that our students were accepted to, I mean, people gravitated toward that because you don't necessarily, you'll get into Harvard, but you can't afford to go. But it's nice to say, yeah, well, I got into Harvard. Or
also would be good to have some sort of news release or press release or something on the website highlighting the on-the-spot admit day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was, that's what, I knew there was a 64% admit rate, but I didn't know it was that. That is amazing, that partnership. Wow.
Question I have about your certification programs that basically prep some of these kids to get ready for actual jobs. Do you have a CNA program? And pardon my ignorance if I don't know this. Do you guys have a CNA program as one of your programs that are offered to students? Do you know what that is? Okay.
Certificate nursing assistant.
No, the answer is no. Certified nurse assistant?
Yes.
Yeah. So no, but Denise, can you talk about CTE a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't have that program, but we do at Jefferson have a health science pathway, and it does focus on emergency medical care. So that's where they are receiving it's not the Red Cross certification, it's the one above it. I can't recall the name, but it's the certification that they need for the nursing certificate programs at Skyline.
Got it.
And the EMT programs.
I see. It would not be a bad idea to add a CNA program.
Currently, we offer Gateway to Health. It's an online after-school enriched dual enrolled class that's offered to every student in the district, and that is a course that aligns with Skyline's certificate and degree program in their health science pathways. It goes to multiple pathways at Skyline.
The other thing is that might be something that's more appropriate for adult school, because they're not in high school, I don't think, going to actually, I don't know what goes into getting your CNA licensure. I'm not sure. Yeah. But the CTE pathways are sort of preparing the kids for, after high school. I don't know that they're actually attaining every certificate you're going to need to be in the profession, but that might be something for adult school as well.
I can speak a little more.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that we had, because we did want it to be a nursing pathway, is finding an instructor. Because in order to be a CTE instructor, you have to have industry experience as well. And we live in the Bay Area. Nurses make a lot more money than teachers.
Yeah. Well, I happen to be connected in that community.
Okay.
And I think if it's something that we really want to seriously consider, which I think we should, and this is a reason, right? Like a CNA in California makes $28 an hour.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So, which means you can literally work, 30 hours a week and go to community college for your associate's degree while you're earning a reasonable, livable wage. You might have to share an apartment with 3 or 4 people, but that sets you up for like an actual job. That was my path. I'm speaking to this from experience. Like I know if that program did not exist for when I needed it, there's no way I could have been able to put food on the table. So just something to ponder about.
It's definitely something we are interested in. And as I mentioned, the challenge is just finding a teacher. Same with biotech. We've been searching for a couple of years now to find a teacher in that area. And it's just really challenging.
Okay, when you build your website, create a link for that. And I would distribute it within my community to see if there are any teachers that will be, nurses that will be willing to do some school teaching.
Thank you.
I think there are plenty of them out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very excited. There is a lot of interest and a lot of need in our community. And again, just finding teachers has been a challenge. Okay, goal number 5 is to implement an English language development program aligned to the English Learner Roadmap to ensure equitable access to high quality education, linguistic development, and academic achievement. So I'm very proud to say that our intake process for our newcomer students or students new to this country has been going strong. We have an amazing staff who welcomes our students here at the district office, and the family liaisons and the school counselors at the school sites ensure that students are placed appropriately in their classes when they are at their school sites. Also, the teacher for our newcomer programs meet regularly to make sure that the needs of our students are met. We are also continuing to provide support for our teachers to address the academic language needs for our students who have been classified as long-term. So the PD is called Constructing Meaning. And we have in-house trainers who's been providing this professional development since maybe 2017. So in this PD, teachers learn how to scaffold the language needs of students within their content area. So whether it's math or science or social science. As an example, students learn the language of cause and effect in science and in math with the supports from writing templates, sentence frames, and patterns. And students are also expected to engage with each other through setting up structures for structured student talk so that they're able to practice using their language verbally. And for this metric, I want to highlight, which is also one of the board focus goals, is the reclassification criteria. Reclassification means that the students have met the criteria set forth by the state in order to be deemed as English proficient. So 21% of our students met the reclassification criteria, and it is the same from the previous year. And that is it for this goal.
What's the goal for reclassification for next year?
We set a 3-year goal but in the 3rd year, it's 30%.
Okay. Thank you.
Goal number 6 is a focus goal. So by July 2027, students with individualized educational program will be at least in the orange indicator on the dashboard in the areas of smarter balance assessments, graduation rate, and college and career indicator. So an area to highlight for this is the inclusive practices for our students. The co-teaching is an area that we are focusing on. We have increased co-teaching sections where there are 2 teachers. So an education specialist or a case manager works with the general education teachers, and they co-plan a lesson to support our students with IEP. And in addition, our co-teachers right now receive training from the county office, and they also receive coaching from the county office to help improve their teaching practices. So this goal is a SMART goal, so meaning that our goals need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And we use the dashboard as a metric, and the goal is at least orange in all of those areas. And with the exception of Smarter Balanced Math, we met all of the goals. And that's for our special education program.
Question on this. I know one of the board goals is related to metric 7, which is IEP students or diploma-bound students meeting A through G requirements. How many students currently are taking any A through G courses at the moment? I mean, I'd have to look that up. And what percentage of students are currently in A through G courses, even just right now, just so that we know that they're even on a track?
Almost all of our classes are A through G.
Okay.
We have very few that are not A through G. And this co-teaching actually allows them to be in an A through G class. And so I don't have the numbers on the top of my head, but I can look that up. But it's definitely increased because of co-teaching.
What would hold them back from being able to fulfill it if most of our curriculum is A through G?
Grades. They need at least a C in the class in order to fulfill that. The other thing is that we do have a split requirement of world language or visual and performing arts.
Okay.
And because of that, some students, do not take the world language, and there is a 2-year requirement for a world language.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's helpful.
Okay. Goal 7 is maintain the effectiveness of school operations. So I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Van Raphorst to talk briefly about our Jefferson Union Sustainability Committee.
Thank you, Ms. Baca. I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, if you haven't been following along, that after the adoption of our Green Schools policy last year, which included recommendation to start a sustainability committee, we have started one. We had our first meeting in December, and we are meeting every other week until we feel like we have a good, solid program in place, and then we'll move to once a month. There are staff member identified at every single school site, so we have 5 teacher reps that are receiving a stipend for their participation on this committee, and we have identified students that are reps from every school site. And in total, we have over 20 people on the committee. I'm not sure that there's much else to say yet, but they are very engaged and will likely make a presentation to the board in 6 months or so when they feel like they're more fully established.
Thank you. And as far as the communication resources, as I mentioned earlier, we will have an updated website, Ms. Presto?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to say something about what Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst was just saying. We had a meeting with the county office yesterday, and I just want to let you know that they were raving about our program and about what we were doing here, and said that we should be a model for the county. So I was really thinking we were kind of behind. We're not worried that, oh my gosh, we should have been doing more. And we were held up as an exemplar. So thank you, Ms. Van Raphorst.
So communication resources, we have new updated website. Very, very exciting for district and each of the school site. And I also would like to say that we are combining our communication resources. So currently we use multiple organizations to send out our absence messaging, our mass communication. We have the Remind platform where, you know, the teachers use and the coaches use this to communicate with their students. So what happened is that Parent Square bought Remind. And with that, it just made a lot more sense to transition to Parent Square. It also has a newsletter feature. And so long-term, it will not only save us money, but just streamlining communication in one app will make it much easier for our students and families. And the other thing that I want to highlight is our interpretation and translation supports. I know that we have agreed to provide a bilingual stipend for our staff who takes a test, and if they pass, they will receive a stipend, and they are our go-to people to interpret and translate. And I'm happy to say that 54 staff members received this bilingual stipend this year, and it was in the fall. A metric thing to highlight is the communication survey that will be administered in the spring. And then finally, the parent survey through California Parent Survey. So this is the parent version of the California Healthy Kids Survey. And as you can see with these 5 questions, we got a much more positive results from the previous year. And lastly, this is the budget overview for parents. So we have to show what was allocated before and where we are currently. This has a projection of the estimated whole year salary and benefits of teachers and staff. And as you can see, we're, you know, pretty close. And then for the supplemental funds, these are the funds for our students learning English, foster youth, and homeless. We're projecting to spend more, but that's what we have been doing year after year because we want to make sure that our students are served as they should. And finally, I'm just going to go through this just as a reminder. These are the board goals that was discussed, and they are pulled from our LCAP. And so here they are, and that is it.
Thank you, Kareen. Kick butt on that, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's a lot of information, but it's good information. It's what we need. So I appreciate, you guys putting all that together.
It's a comprehensive plan. I know that when some people look at it, it's like, how are you going to do all of this, and some of them we, wait and delay. It's not the priority, but everybody can see like, what are we doing as a district? Because everything is pretty much outlined in that plan.
Yeah, and it feels like we're prioritizing the stuff that we all really want more now than, some of the other stuff, because you can't attack it all at once, obviously. So this is a great way to do it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much for your presentation. It's good. I know it's mandatory to do the mid-year, but it's always good to have it, to see where we are, especially when we're talking about our board goals. I think we're making good strides. And I think that there's real intention behind every step that we're taking. And just amazing stuff, I think, for the CTE, the certificates, and, with the partnership with San Francisco State, the instant admit, that's crazy. It's just really exciting. I think we're the little district that's big. And if they're going to hold us up as a model, give us some money. Give us something. Don't just keep just keep telling us we're the model for CTE and we're the model for this, and they keep, yeah, we are, but we're we have to, this is how we don't just survive. We have to thrive here.
One last question, actually going back to the on the spot SFSU, is there thought about taking this district wide?
Yes, so that is something that we have talked about to see if that is something that they want to implement at, each of the school site.
Great, that'd be fantastic. Well, thank you so much. This was a really great presentation.
Thank you. And I just want to, really call out our teachers, counselors, staff who's, worked really, really hard in making sure that, that we're moving forward despite of what is happening. Our dedication to our students is just really commendable, and it shows.
I personally want to thank you guys for being patient with me, especially as I get up to speed with things, and also really highlight the value that you guys bring. It's amazing, and your ability to do it with such humility. It's just really awesome to see. And this goes to the staff and the teachers as well, right? Like, our job up here is to make your lives as easy as possible, so we set up our students for success. If the moment we can't do that, we're failing you, and call us out on it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Awesome. Natalia.
I'm like, may I say something?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to say, I love our school district. It's just amazing. Like, being in this meeting and seeing this presentation, it's like the amount of consideration and effort that is put into making our students have that sense of belonging. It's just amazing. And I have personally seen this, like, in the classroom and everything. Also, as a link crew leader for the newcomer advisory, I have seen that shift of, like, students who only spoke like their native language and have like no basic English. It's just like, I've seen that, and then I see all of this and I'm like, oh, so they were doing something. They were behind this. Yes. So thank you. It's just amazing.
Thank you for that, Natalia. All right, anybody else? All right, moving on. 16.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sophia?
I would just like to agree with you. I would definitely say the district has definitely done a lot, especially to just make like students feel more comfortable in their district. And especially coming from a very small school, Thornton, like a lot of the people who go there because, like they're not doing well in school, like at all. Or I don't know, maybe they're just going through something that they weren't able to focus in their last environment. And, like without the district, then students wouldn't be able to, just like Jaden today was a perfect example. Like all students, start from the bottom and they like make themselves all the way go to the top. And that all that success is just because of all the support from, staff in the district. So it's just good to see that everybody's like trying to work on like making the best environment for students. So thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. It's good to hear that. All right, anybody else? All right, moving on. 16B1, our Associate Superintendent of Human Resources and Student Services, Ms. Doreen Basuino, with our comprehensive school safety plan.
Yeah, good evening. So the California Ed Code outlines the requirements of all schools operating any kindergarten and any grades 1 to 12 inclusive to write and develop a school safety plan relevant to the needs and resources of that particular school. In closed session, we went over the non-public, the tactical response, and then posted here are the public versions. And just a reminder that these were already cleared through San Mateo County Office of Ed back in October.
Cool. Any questions or anything? Thank you.
Did you say kindergarten?
Kindergarten. I'm a PE teacher, so.
I like kindergarten.
I like kindergarten.
All right, we're moving on to action items. 17A1 Delegate Assembly Ballot. Superintendent Tony Presta.
Thank you. So CSBA's Delegate Assembly is a vital link in the association's governance structure. Working with local districts, county offices of ed, and the board of directors and executive committee, delegates ensure that the association reflects the interests of school districts and county offices throughout the state. Delegate Assembly is composed of delegates who are elected and appointed by local board members in 21 geographic regions throughout the state. Delegates will serve 2-year terms beginning April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2027. The Delegate Assembly meets twice each year. So tonight, it is advised that the Board of Trustees vote for no more than 3 candidates to serve on the Delegate Assembly from Subregion 5B, which is San Mateo County, for the California School Board Association. And you will note that one of the people running for Delegate Assembly is our own Andrew Lee. You see that there are 3: Greg Land, Andy Lee, and Francesca Segre. So you can vote for no more than 3, and I will turn it over to yourselves to discuss whether you would like to vote for all 3 or less than 3. You have recommendations?
Well, I know all 3, and they've done a really great job and very active. And, I would, I'd like to make a motion to vote for all 3.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you, guys.
Do us proud.
How do we end that one?
Pardon me?
So how do we end that one? Is that it?
That's it. We'll send it in. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. 17B1 Job Descriptions Update. Director of Human Resources, Ms. Dana Lujan.
Good evening, everyone. The item before you this evening is a little unusual. Typically, I do job descriptions one at a time, like I did later in the agenda. This time around, there are 44 job descriptions. Last year, we engaged the work of the services of CPS HR and conducted a class and compensation study. Through that study, so many of our classified employees and confidential employees completed a survey, participated in an interview, and provided insights into what their job was like. That data was collected and analyzed and compared to the job descriptions we had. And then, thanks to help from CPS HR, the updates were made. The district reviewed the job descriptions, then AFT 1481 reviewed the job descriptions, then AFT 1481 and the district collaborated, and here is the result of all of our collaboration. And I welcome any questions.
Thank you for the hard work on this. And
wow, that's a lot of job descriptions.
And I also move to approve these 44 job descriptions.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dana.
Team effort for sure.
Oh.
Okay. All right, moving on. Let's see where we at. 17B2 Public Hearings of an Action, JUHSD. AFT 1481 Contract Negotiations Proposals for the 2025-2026 school years. State Lujan, you have the floor again.
Thank you. So this evening we have the sunshine from AFT 1481 and the sunshine from the district. This is an opportunity for the union and the district to present to the public which articles we plan to open to engage in negotiations over. We are looking forward to negotiations and we welcome any questions.
No questions? If there's no questions.
This is where you tap to open the public hearing?
Oh, is that what you do?
Yep. To open the public
Open the public hearing?
Yeah.
No comment? Close the public hearing?
There we go.
All right, that's not what it is. Oh, yeah. It is, okay, so then it's, can I get a motion for the board to adopt the initial proposal for contract negotiations for 2025-2026 school year?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have Job description update, adaptive physical education APE teacher, Ms. Daly.
Hello again. So the adaptive PE teacher job description was updated to reflect updated documentation requirements. Just to remind the board, a couple years ago, Service Tracker had updated reporting requirements for case managers. So the job description reflects these updated reporting requirements, as well as our district's vision for inclusion, where we provide opportunities for students of all abilities to engage with one another. Through collaboration with AFT 1481, we are pleased to bring this to you, and I welcome questions.
If there's no questions, can I get a motion to approve the job description updated as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Job description for district librarian, Ms. Dana Lujan.
Hello again. The district librarian position is a new position, so this is a new job description. This position will coordinate school, library, and media programs aligned with the California library standards across our entire district. So they will provide support to all of our schools with the ideal intention of promoting equitable access for students to information.
Okay, if there's no questions, could I get a
question? In the age of AI, and librarians considered to be the mecca of knowledge and knowledge validation, do we see a possibility of, I don't know, including or modifying the role to have some aspect of AI validation tools that our students use? We know they use them. We all know they're going to use it, but is there a way that this role can play some factors in that?
That's a great wonder. And one of the elements of the job description actually specifically focuses on technology integration. We do try to be we try to provide general information in job descriptions, because what we want to avoid is having to bring a job description update with minute details in it because something changed. So one of the things that with this technology integration, the district librarian would advocate and implement digital literacy initiatives, which could include AI, and then support things like research tools. So that way we can help students determine what is a deep fake versus what is real information.
Cool.
That's good stuff. Thank you. If there's no further questions, can I get a motion to approve the district librarian job description?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Dana Lujan, next job description for lead psychologist.
Thank you. My last job description for this evening, the lead psychologist job description was updated to more accurately reflect the educational and experience qualifications. So that way it actually aligns with what a school psychologist, a lead psychologist would have in terms of education. It also clarified some of the essential duties, like one of the requirements of our lead psychologist is to help our parochial schools conduct assessments for students who are within our district boundaries. Welcome questions.
No dead wonderings from here.
No wonderings from me either.
Wonderings.
So moved to approve the job description.
I have a wondering. No, I don't.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and to AFT 1481 for tightening these up for us.
All right, are there any consideration of future agenda items? If there's no consideration, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Back to closed session.
Back to closed session. That's right.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.